Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Profit Plays podcast here on our YouTube channel. Joining me, as always, we have Trey Trends and Jacob Teats. Boys, how are we feeling today? We feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I don't know about Teats, but I'm feeling pretty good. The NBA is just now kicking off as we are going live.
Yes.
We released our player props this morning, and I'm hoping to get some good news for them. I went 1-on-1 yesterday. I'm just trying to go 2-0 to start my weekend because I know that this weekend's going to be good for football.
I love it. Teats, how we feeling? Tell me.
Long week of work. Gotta enjoy a glass of wine, kind of wind down. Drink responsibly. Make sure that you're 21 and older. Don't be drinking illegally.
Yeah,
All that fun stuff. If you drink, don't drive. I just want to get all those disclaimers out there. I'm ready for some NBA to get going. I'm ready for some weekend action football that we'll be getting into pretty soon. And yeah, I'm just ready for the weekend.
I love it. Well, we have a shorter show for you guys today. Only one college football game, but we do have 4 NFL games we're going to discuss. We're going to have our dog of the weekend and podcast parlay, and we'll finish with our bet slips. So let's get right into it. We'll start with the dog of the weekend, and we'll start with Trey. Trey, let's hear it.
Yeah, leader needs to start, so I'm glad that you put me first. I did put you before me on the leaderboard because you are our fearless leader. But, I mean, if we're wanting to be honest, I should be above you because I am in first, But I'm going with the Browns at plus 5.5 for my dog of the week. I don't know if I'm quite liking it too much because they are going up against the Bengals, and everyone knows how high-powered offense the Bengals is. They got Joe Burrow, they got Jamar Chase, they got T. Higgins, they got Tyler Boyd. And we don't know if Joe Mixon's playing this week. He's been limited, so who knows if he's going to be playing. But we all know what the Browns have. They got Nick Chubb, they got Kareem Hunt, they got Cooper. They got Njoku. So they are loaded on the offensive side. And I didn't even mention Myles Garrett or Denzel Ward, who were top 3 at their respective positions. So the Browns have what they have to compete. It just comes down to how rusty is Deshaun going to look. Deshaun looked really bad last week against the lowly Texans.
Yeah.
And, I mean, their defense is the reason why they won last week. So I'm hoping their defense shows up again against the Bengals. And if they do, they're going to pull off the win and give me that 6 points for the dog of the week to put me up at 17.
I like it. Teats, let's hear yours.
I'm a go big or go home kind of guy. I was looking for a double-digit underdog, and I had to hammer it. I took the Jets. They're going to Buffalo to play the Bills. You know what? I'll be honest. This is going to be kind of a rough matchup for them. However, AFC East always plays each other so tight. And it looks like Buffalo, although they seem to be maybe getting back on track, they just don't know how to keep their lead in that division right now. Like that division it went from an obvious, Buffalo, Miami might be number 2 to honestly, who knows who's going to come out of that division into the playoffs. Like we assume it's Buffalo. We'll see. I do like New York, the Jets. They have a lot of talent. Is Mike White still the quarterback under center for them? I think he is.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know what? He's kind of a baller. He's got some marbles on him. I like him. I think if anyone's going to beat the Bills, it could be him. So let's hope that I get a Jets win this weekend.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like we're doubling down on New York teams, which is probably not a good idea, but we're doing it. I'm tired of losing this segment. I need to win, so the only logical thing for me to do is to take the Giants and stomp the Eagles this week. No explanation for the pick, except the Giants are a hungry dog, and I hate the Eagles. So I'm going to take the Giants to get the win against the Eagles and to keep their playoff hopes alive. So I'm going to take the Giants to win that game. But all right, let's get into the standalone game on Saturday for college football. We have the best game of the year, Army versus Navy. Navy minus 2.5. Over-under is 32.5. I'll start with Trey.
This is the matchup that we've all been waiting for. We are very excited for this because you know what? We love our troops here at the Bears Profit Plays. And the spread picks or the spread trends for both these teams is absolutely outrageous. So I'm going to stay away from the spread picks, but I'm going to give you guys the trends for it because they are that good. Navy is 11-2 ATS versus a team with a losing record. Navy is 7-2 ATS in our last 9 games overall, and Army is 5-0 ATS in our last 5 games overall. So with those with those trends, I'm staying away from the spread pick, and I'm going with the under. We all saw this coming. An under of 32.5 for a college game. Who would have saw that coming? Me, because listen here to these trends. These trends are even better than the spread trends, and these are outrageous. You got to follow them blindly. The under is 10-0 in the last 10 meetings at Army, and the under is 18-3 in the last 21 meetings altogether.
Sheesh.
So these teams do not like seeing each other in the end zone, even though with this total being so low at 32.5, I'm hammering the under and running away with some money.
Yeah, this is my member pick on BearsProfitPlays.com, one of them this week. So I'm not going to give you guys a side, but I will add on to what Trey said. I won't take the over in this one game. You're supposed to take the under. This is the only game all year that you have a pass in college football to take an under. So I'm going to take this under. It's at the last 16 games, so I'm not going to be the one guy who takes the over. So I'm going to take the under in this game, and my spread bet is on the site, BearsProfitPlays.com. So if you guys want to see that, become a member today. But Teats, how about you?
I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that guy that takes the over. Let me just start. I will take a spread, though. I will take a spread in this situation. The thing is that this is such a weird game to be trying to bet on. I mean, Army's had some pretty dominant victories so far this year. They actually just, I think, put 44 on UMass last week.
Yeah.
But Navy also just took out UCF, who was a ranked opponent. It's just like you never know what the hell's going to happen. I like the points. I'm going to go with Army. We're just going to lock that down, and we'll have to see what happens when the game ends.
All right, so 2 on the under and 1 on Army spread for that game. Should be a great game. The uniforms, by the way, are electric. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but go look on Twitter if you guys haven't seen those. They're electric. But let's get into some NFL games on Sunday. We're going to start with the Vikings versus the Lions. The Lions are -2, over under 51.5. So this game's a wild line. I don't know what's going on, but Vegas clearly knows something that we don't. So I'm going to hear from Trey first to give me some trends.
This is one of the highest totals of the weekend, and I think Vegas tries to do that because make us think, hey, you know what, this total's too high. I'm going to bet the under here, and I feel like that's what they're trying to do with the Army-Navy game with setting it so low. But we know better. We're going with the over here at over 51.5. I think that's the play. The spread trends were not very good for either team, but if I had to choose an advantage, it was the Vikings. The Vikings have been pretty good against the spread in their last 5 games. But the trends for the total picks is really good. The over is 5-1 in the last 6 games between these two teams. The over is 4-1 in the Vikings' last 5 versus the NFC North. And the over is 4-1 in the Lions' last 5 versus the NFC North as well. And the over is 6-2 in the Lions' last 8 home games. Lions are at home. Jared Goff loves playing in the Dome. Kirk Cousins is already used to playing in the Dome in Minnesota. So I think both these teams are going to be electric on the offensive end, and I think they both might score 30 if I'm being honest. So 51.5 is a sure bet for me.
All right, so you're on the over 51.5. This game, I just don't know. I thought coming in the week it'd be a trap game for the Vikings, so I figured the Lions would be the favored or underdogs by 3.5. Now I'm wondering why the line hasn't swung back to the Vikings. So regardless if I'm the rat or the trap, I'm going to take the Vikings money line because they're just the better team. I have to take the Vikings money line. It makes no sense, but I'll take the cheese and take the Vikings money line. Teats?
Well, I mean, I will say this. Did you see the locker room celebration from the Lions? The last 5 weeks, Dan Campbell loves to fire up his team after a win, and he keeps the momentum going. So the Lions are on a roll, so I feel like that's why Vegas loves them and the public loves them even more. But I think the Vikings are easily the better team. Sorry,
the public loving them scares me even the most. Like that terrifies me. But Teats, how about you?
I do like that money line bet just because you're also getting plus money. So anytime you can chase plus money, you might as well do it. I'm kind of with you guys. I don't really know how I feel about this game. I think that there's not really even arguably a safe bet. I feel like the over 51.5 is going to be the best bet that I would take. It's just really weird to see the Lions, even though they're at home, 1.5 point favorites against a Vikings team who's only dropped 2 games this season. Yeah. The Vikings kind of in an overall state, they're very well balanced. They're very well geared. They can win a lot of games. Detroit Lions are one of the best offensive teams in the country. But on the flip side, they're also one of the worst defensive teams in the country. And the fact that they've done what they've done over the past 4 weeks is outstanding. I just don't think that this is the game I want to deal with a spread or deal with a money line. I think I'm just going to stay with the over.
All right, so 2 overs in the Vikings. I'm not trying to dog on the Lions. I think they're getting better, but they're just not. I just don't think they're there yet. I think the Vikings are the way better team. So I'm going to stick with Vikings money line. But let's move on to the next game for the NFL. We have the Eagles minus 7.5 versus the Giants. Over under is 45. Teats, I'll start with you.
Eagles minus 6.5. Do I need to say more?
Say,
7.
7,
we
yeah.
don't
So,
even need to
so
go
here's
to
the
the
deal,
Eagles.
though.
Nobody's
Don't buy
Here's
that
the deal,
point.
though. Here's the reason why I said 6.5, because I thought this through. The Eagles have been doing pretty well covering the past couple weeks. I wanted to buy half a point. When I wrote this all down, it was at 7.5, so it was a full point. So if we can get to 6, I just don't like the idea of even like going and tying a game. I don't like the idea. I mean, you win or you lose. So I'm either going to win or I'm going to lose on this bet. I've rode the Eagles all season long. I have a bunch of L's in my back pocket. I've got a couple wins. I want to see if we can keep riding with it. The Giants just don't have a whole lot offensively anymore. I think they're just kind of starting to fizzle out. But we're also in New York. It's a conference rival game. We'll see.
So you're on Eagles minus 7.5.
Eagles minus 6.5. I bought half a point.
Okay, give me the Giants with the points. Hungry dog runs fast when it's hungry. I'd rather die than take the Eagles. So give me the Giants with the points. Trey?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you some trends to back you up, Jesse. The Eagles are 1-6 ATS in their last 7 road games. The Giants are 4-1 ATS in their last 5 home games. Giants are 7-2 ATS in their last 9 games overall. And finally, the underdog in this matchup is 5-2 ATS in the last 7 games. So the Giants plus 7.5 is the play. That's what I saw it at earlier. It dropped a half point, but I'm still, like Teats said, I don't like to push. So I'm going to buy the half point at where it's at now and take the Giants plus 7.5 because I don't think that they're going to lose by more than a touchdown here. Brian Dable knows how to get the boys buzzing, and he's going to make it a competitive game.
All right, so Giants, and the Dirty Birds for Teats. I
Yeah.
hate this so much, but all right, let's move on to the Jets versus the Bills. I'm just realizing that this slate is loaded. The spreads are kind of high, but I mean, there's good games here. Jets versus Bills. Bills are minus 10. Over under is 43. Teats, back to back. Go again.
All right, I'll go back to back. They're my dog of the week. I will take the money line, but for the bettors out there, for everyone listening, I would say plus 10 is a very solid line to be taking. The Jets have been defensively very good. Sauce Gardner's been doing good. DJ Reed's been doing pretty good. So secondary-wise, they've been doing a very good job. Offensively, they've got 2-3 running backs that honestly can at any given time go off. They have that Knight guy who just recently had himself a game. Michael Carter comes back healthy. They've got some weapons. And with Mike White under center, he does not care. He will sling the ball. He will throw it wherever he wants to. It does not matter. That could be bad. That could be good. We'll see. I also like the over in this game, honestly. Both of these offenses do have the capacity to score. Both defenses do have the ability to lock down. But I think that Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they'll be getting at least one touchdown combo between them, and I would like to think that the Jets can put up some points against this Bills defense.
Teats, I'll have you know I had Bills minus 10 written down, but I'm going to flip. I'm going to flip because we're friends. I'm going to take the Jets money line. I'm going to ride the money line with you. The Bills just haven't been beating teams like we're used to seeing.
Right.
They haven't been dominating teams lately, and the Jets are very competitive, and they have a really good defense. So I'll take the Jets money line, riding with you just because we're friends, all right?
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are a little crazy. I do expect this game to get ugly pretty quickly. The Bills are too good. I don't buy the Mike White hype. We saw what happened to him last year, and we're just waiting for it to happen to him again this year. And I think the Bills defense is the defense that it's going to happen against. So I'm going to go under the 43.5 for my play. The under is 8-2 in the Bills' last 10 games overall. The under is 6-1 in the Bills' last 7 versus AFC opponents. The under is 4-0 in the Jets' last 4 versus NFC opponents. The under is 5-2 in Jets' last 7 games overall. And in this matchup, in the last 7 matchups, the under is 5-2. Neither of these two teams are going to score. I think the Bills might score 25, and the Jets might get lucky to score 2 touchdowns. I like the Bills here. Their defense is really good, and the Jets' defense might even be better than the Bills, so I like the under.
The trends don't lie.
Under the Jets, I guess.
Okay.
But, all right, let's move on to the final game. Sunday Night Football. Miami minus 3.5 versus the Chargers. Over under is 53.5. Trey, I'll start with you.
Oh, this game's going to be pretty exciting. I bet on the Dolphins last week, and they burned me. So you know what I'm doing? Fading them. I'm going with the Chargers plus 3.5. There's honestly not very many good trends for the Chargers, so I'm just going to go with my gut here. There's a lot of good trends for the over, but at 53.5, I'm not quite for sure if I'm a big fan of that, but I'm just still going to give you guys the trends because I'm Trey Trends. Over is 4-0 in Dolphins' last 4 road games. Over is 4-1 in Dolphins' last 5 games overall. And the over is 7-2 in the Chargers' last 9 home games. So the trends are there for the over. But I'm going with my gut here. I think Herbert's going to show up. I think Austin Eckler is going to score 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins. So I'm going Chargers plus 3.5.
Yeah, just like you're taking the Chargers with your gut, I'm going to take the Dolphins with my gut, minus 3.5. They were embarrassed last week against San Fran, and I called that game. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of how this Dolphins team works. So I'm going to take Dolphins minus 3.5 to put it on the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Teats?
I have in my notes, I have the Dolphins minus 3.5. The thing is that it's going to be interesting. Both the Chargers and the 49ers have very elite front seven. They've got some very good edge rushers, pass rushers, and Tua last week did not look good. Honestly, I would say a lot of the blame came on Tua for that loss. Does he redeem himself or does he kind of fall apart? But we have to remember that the Los Angeles Chargers are the LA Chargers. They love to choke away close games. So I think that the Dolphins will take this one. Money line is just not appealing, so minus 3.5.
I like it. So Dolphins, and the Chargers for that game. All right, let's move on to our bet slips for this weekend, and then we'll get to the podcast parlay. Who's up first, Trey, on these bet slips?
We can have Teats go first. Usually he goes in the second spot, so we can move him up in the batting order tonight.
All right. Hey, I like the leadoff. All right. Jets, Bills, Jets money line. They're my dog of the week. I've got to lock them in for my bet slip as well. I think they can take this one. Chiefs, Broncos. Chiefs minus 9.5 might be my best bet this weekend. The Broncos defense is elite, but the Broncos cannot score more than 14 points most games. And I don't think the Chiefs will score less than 25. So I think that minus 9.5 is going to be a good bet for the Chiefs in that favor. Bucks 49ers, that's my member lock. I really wanted to talk about it, but we'll see what it's like on the website, bearsprofitplays.com. Go check it out when it drops. Patriots Cardinals under 43.5. Patriots defense elite. Cardinals not bad. Cardinals offense is in a disarray. Cliff Kingsbury needs to get his team under control. Patriots offense, next. Lions Vikings over 51.5. We already covered that. The over it's a high over, but both offenses are very, very capable of, like Trey said, 30 bomb each. So I think that the over actually might be the safest bet for this weekend for me.
I like it. I love that Jets money line play, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I might even write that. I might even take this Jets plus 10.5 and make it money line. But anyway, I have a couple for you guys. A lot of them actually. I'm on the Army Navy under, like we talked about, and I have 3 member picks that I'm going to take this weekend. Army Navy aside, Pitt versus Ravens game, and Louisville versus Florida State NCAA. But a free play, I'm going to take Tampa plus the 3.5. How can you not take Tampa after what Tom Brady did last week? The defense for Tampa Bay is going to make Brock Purdy uncomfortable. So I like Tampa plus 3.5. And I'm going to change that Jets bet to money line. And honored Teats, I'm not going to take the plus 10.5. I'm going to take a money line to beat the Bills this week. But those are my bet slips. Trey?
Dang, it makes me just want to have to hammer the Jets money line, but I feel like I know better. I don't like to give out a lot of my weekend bet slip bets like Jesse and Teats. They like to hammer in a lot, but I always like to go at a consistent 2-2 every week. So viewers and listeners, I've gone 2-2 every week. So you just have to know. You just got to find out which 2 are going to be winners, and that's a good way to start off your weekend. But my 4 plays I'm going to do is Seattle minus 3.5. This might be a sucker bet, but I do not trust the Panthers. I'm not quite for sure why they're traveling to Seattle, and they're barely dogs in this matchup against a playoff contender like Seattle. So I like the minus 3.5 for the Seahawks. I'm not too worried about Kenneth Walker being out. The next one is going to be Steelers and Ravens matchup. Steelers minus 1.5. I was thinking about doing a money line bet, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Steelers should win this game pretty handily. Tyler Huntley's starting for the Ravens, and I think T.J. Watt's going to eat him for about 3 sacks by halftime. And then Teats had the Chiefs minus 9.5. I'm going the other side. I'm going to go Broncos plus 9.5. The Chiefs have not covered a spread in their past 5 games. They are 0-4-1. So I'm fading them until they learn how to cover a spread because I love the Broncos. I think the 9.5 points is too much. Yes, their offense sucks, but their defense is one of the best in the league, and I think that they can keep it close. And lastly, Vikings, Lions, like Teats, over 51.5. I think this is a sure lock. There's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. Like I said earlier, each team might reach 30. So I think this might even hit by the fourth quarter. And if not, then it should hit by the end of the game. So those are my 4 weekend bet slip picks.
I like them. All right, that's our bet splits for this weekend. Let's get into the podcast parlay for this week. I'm going to go ahead and go first. I'm pretty sure I'm first up on the list, but I'm going to start with the Dallas Cowboys minus 17.5. There we go. Dallas Cowboys minus 17.5. And I kind of want a little bit. There are moments in a season where you look at your team and you evaluate them for who they are and not who you want them to be. This Sunday, if Dallas covers the spread, a future bet will be placed on them to win the Super Bowl by myself. If this game right here, this game against the Texans will determine if this team can be competitive come playoff time or if they get slimed out this year like last year. So this game's going to tell me a lot I need to know. I'm going to take Dallas Cowboys minus 17.5. I'm going to take a minus 23.5. I might take a minus 30.5. And I'll probably take their team total over. So Dallas Cowboys minus 17.5. Lock it in. Trey?
Yeah, and I think that might be a sure bet. Are the Texans that bad? Who knows? They did just bring in Davis Mills back into their starting lineup. I don't know if that's going to help them or hurt them. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm going to go with the under 32.5 in the Navy-Army game. I talked about it earlier. The trends are absolutely outrageous. The under is 10-0 in the last 10 meetings at Army, and the under is 18-3 in the last 21 meetings total. So this play is a sharp play. Just hammer it, walk away, and wake up on Sunday and have some extra money in your account.
I love it. Teats?
Vikings, Lions over 51.5. We've said, I think, at least 20 times already during this video that they're a lock. I don't really have to get into it other than Jared Goff seems to be back in 2015 area, 2016, and the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, every chain he gets an upgrade. He gets better. So the over 51.5 should be pretty nice.
I like that. And the odds are pretty good at plus 570. So look for that to hit this weekend for sure. We've been really close, 2-1 on a couple of those. So
yeah, we have.
But all right, guys, that'll do it for our picks and prediction for this weekend. If you guys enjoyed the content, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel below. We'll see you guys next video, and thanks for watching.